What's going on, guys? My name is Shay and welcome back to your Altcoin Daily News. So in today's video, I want to do a deep dive into Bitcoin and see where it's heading. Is it actually poised to go on this huge bull run on the horizon? I want to look at the fundamentals, the technical analysis side, and see if there's any price points you guys should get into to maximize your profits. Also, I want to look at the other big cryptocurrencies, that's Ethereum, Litecoin, Neo, Ripple, and see if I can see anything that stands out in my opinion. And so before we get into this video, I want to let you guys know this is a cryptocurrency channel dedicated to bringing you your daily dose of crypto news, updates, price predictions, and anything cryptocurrency related. So let's get into the video. So let's get right into the video because we got a long video ahead of us full of technical analysis. But before I get into it, I just want to tell you guys that TA and technical analysis is very subjective. It's how you see it in your own eyes. You can use theories, fundamentals that everyone else is using, but you see it differently. So this is how I see Bitcoin moving, and this is how I see other cryptocurrencies moving currently. And I want to make the most profit you guys can make by looking at these fundamentals and putting it into use. So as you guys can tell, the first thing that I look at is resistance points, because resistance points are huge deals within this cryptocurrency space because it tends to have an effect on where people believe it will break below, break above, and there will be a lot of volume activity around these resistance points. So the first thing I've drawn that you guys can see from yesterday's video too is this resistance point right here, or this uptrend line. Okay? And that uptrend line is hitting the line that we drew at 12,000. The reason why I picked 12,000 was strictly due to the fact that we've seen a lot of activity around 12,000 beforehand. We've seen activity right here where it's bounced off of the 12,000 zone. Right here where it's bounced off of again, but it broke underneath. And so I believe that that resistance point will see a lot of activity for Bitcoin, a lot of volume around if it's going to break above it or if it's going to stay below that resistance point. So looking at that, it can either go above or below. And any technical analysis, any day trader has to look at both sides, has to be able to understand that it can either swing upwards and swing downwards. And so one of my favorite theories and fundamental theories that I like to use when I'm doing technical analysis on stocks, on cryptocurrencies, is Elliot Wave and Fibonacci. The main thing is Elliot Wave. Elliot Wave is used around the world. Everyone uses Elliot Wave, and how statistically is proven to be effective. It's proven as long as you support the Elliot Wave points from 0 to 5, it seems to be very statistically sound. So I just want to go into how I drew Elliot. Why do I keep saying drone? How I drew Elliot Wave in this particular situation. So Elliot Wave states that you can put 0 to 1 wherever you want. If you see an uptrend like I saw right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 0 to 1, correct? And then 1 to 2. There's one theory that supports 1 to 2. 2 has to be at least 50% to 62% of the length of point 1 or line 1. If it goes below that, then it doesn't support Elliot Wave. So let me just show you what exactly I'm talking about. So let's go to wave 2, ratios for wave 2, and the Fibonacci rule. Wave 2 is always related to wave 1. So wave 2 is either 50% of wave 1 or 62% of wave 1. So the length of wave 1 is right here, and we see it can either retrace to 50% or 62% of wave 1. And how we can figure that out in more detail is we can use something called the Fibonacci trend-based extension tool. So it goes from 0 to 1, and then you want to bring that down back to 0 and extend it out. You want to bring it back down to 0. And so if you guys can zoom in and tell, we honestly haven't gone below the 50-point mark, which is right here. I know it's a lot of, let me take this off so you guys don't get confused. So as you guys can tell, the 50 point is right here and we haven't gone below it. And the 62 is right around here and we haven't gone below it. Since we stayed above, for Elliot Wave theory, wave 2 is fine. It supports it. So now going to wave 3. Wave 3 is stated as either being wave 1 times 1.2, 2.26 I believe, and the last one being 4.25. Yeah, 2.62, sorry. So it either can be one of these. And there's ratios to how often either of these happen. I'm not going to get into it right now, but you guys should be knowing that wave 3 can either be one of these 3 times the length of wave 1. So looking at that, we can see that here wave 3 is about 2.62, right around where we thought that it would be. According to Elliot Wave, is between 1.62 to 2.62. And we see that it's between that phase, so it supports it. And the next part is all prediction and where I believe Bitcoin can be going. So what I see next is one support line that I've drawn right here. The support line showing a lot of activity, and the support line being 9,500. We've seen that support line here, and we've seen it try to break above, but it didn't, and it broke down. Ever since that resistance point, we've seen that huge downtrend. So using that as a resistance point or resistance level, what I want to show you guys is I believe wave 4 of the Elliot Wave theory could be around this price point. We can see Bitcoin go down to 9,700, 9,800 before it breaks out. And why I believe that can be, let me get out of auto. Why I believe that can be is because you don't want a trend to be moving upwards too fast, correct? You always want slow, gradual growth. So if this has been supporting Elliot, let me just remove this. If this has been supporting Elliot Wave so far, we need to see a little bit of a correction right here to support wave 4 and then wave 5. So saying that, what I believe is, if you look back at Elliot Wave, there's one more fundamental way of figuring out where wave 5 is going to be. Because wave 5 is up in the air, we don't know where wave 5 can be. This is a way to figure that out. So what you want to do first is draw a line from 2 to 4. A straight line from 2 to 4. And so let's draw that right now. Using the trend line tool, we're going to click on it. There we go. Let me zoom in a bit. So we're going to click from here and go to 4, correct? And so now what we're going to do is go back to this book, and we can see that there's another line going from 1 parallel to what we drew for 2 and 4. So let's do that right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight first line, copy it, and let's put it to wave 1 where that peak was. Okay, so now that we have the 2 parallel lines right now, we need one more line, and that line is indicated at 0.3 and parallel to the other 2 lines that we've drawn already. So let's copy this one, copy it and paste it. There we go. And what we're gonna do is extend that line. So what Fibonacci and Elliot Wave tells us is that wave 5 will always end up, as long as it supports how Elliot Wave is statistically proven, as long as it supports that, we can see wave 5. Oh my god, my dog is going off. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. If she sees anyone walking across the street, or if she sees any car pass by, she ends up just barking. But what can I say? She's just trying to be protective, and I love her. So let me look into where wave 5 can end up. So as you guys can tell, based on Fibonacci and Elliot Wave, wave 5 can end up in between this ratio here. It's obviously a prediction, but it's statistically proven that wave 5 will always end up in there. It can shoot above it and it can shoot a little bit below, but we tend to end up in between here. And that's a prediction that is good, because pretend you guys bought around this area. You know that because of Elliot Wave, we will end up around here, and that's massive profits. No matter what, that's still massive profits. For example, if we were to end up buying at 9,800 and going to 11,000, just imagine that's almost 1,200, 1,300 profit on Bitcoin alone. That's massive, because if that happens within a day, you just made yourself 1,000. Some people don't make that within a week. So going off of that, I believe Bitcoin will end up within the next couple of days somewhere in the 11,000 price range. We still need to see that downtrend, that little bit of correction to support Elliot Wave, and then we'll end up seeing 11,000 price point. And I believe that can happen over the weekend. And so that being said, let's get into what do you guys want to get into next? Let's get into Litecoin. Oh no, Ethereum. Let's start with Ethereum, because obviously Ethereum is a juggernaut. Ethereum, there we go. All right, let me go back to auto. Let me zoom in. Okay, so what I've drawn, or why do I keep saying drawn? Oh my god. Hopefully I can get out of this habit. But first, you can see that I drew Elliot Wave here, and after every Elliot Wave, as long as it supports Elliot Wave, there's always a correction wave, and that tends to be ABC. And then we can start seeing another wave. But because we don't see an appropriate Elliot Wave being formed right here, 1, 2, and 3 needs to be above. 3 needs to be above 1. Correct? It has to be 1.62 times or above. And we don't see that right now. Maybe we can see that eventually, but we just don't see it right now. So we can't go off of the assumption that this is a new Elliot Wave. Right now, we can see two things happening. We can see a wedge forming against Ethereum. Let me draw another line. We can see a wedge forming against Ethereum. And hopefully, we can break out of this wedge. If we were to see upgrowth, if we can break out of this wedge, I don't know why it's not extending. There we go. If we can break out of this wedge right here above the price point of 940, if we can break above, then I can fully see us going on the Elliot Wave, wave 3. Is it wave 3? Yes, wave 3. That's what I see for Ethereum. I just don't see the volume spikes right now for Ethereum per se, because it's very, very minuscule compared to these huge volume spikes. And also looking at the RSI is not as strong as I would like, and it seems like it's gonna converge again, because you always want to have the blue over the orange, but we don't see that. And let's look at the last indicator. Let's look at how we are doing on the moving averages, and the moving averages don't seem that convincing right now, to be honest, because look at this. It just seems like it's going to start moving sideways. That's why the wedge is forming right now. But once we break out and we see that divergence like this, then we can have an upswing and we can start taking profits for Ethereum. So let's go into Litecoin. Yeah, let's do Litecoin. LTC. Let's do Coinbase. And so for Litecoin, we did a similar sketch as what we did for Bitcoin. So for example, let's just say we didn't know where wave 5 was. We drew the, I'm never going to get this. We drew the first line touching 2 to 4, the second parallel line from 1, and then the third parallel line from 3. And see, it ended up in between the 1 and 3. And the minute you see the uptrend about to hit number 3, what I would suggest, if anyone is shorting, that's the perfect time to short. Perfect time to sell off and short. Because you know, once that first Elliot Wave is done, that entire Elliot Wave is complete, you can see a sell-off, a correction. So A, B, C. And so what we're seeing now, are we seeing another Elliot Wave being formed? Are we seeing number 1, a slight correction? Number 2 is yet to be seen. We got to be patient and see where this is going. Because we see a crossover on the MACD and the RSI trending downwards, we have to wait and see what's happening. Is it going to go a bit more down and correct, or are we going to see a continuing uptrend? We have to be patient in terms of Litecoin to see where it is going. But saying that, yesterday I told you guys that around 210 is a perfect time to buy back in. that correction from 235 down to 210, I believe, because of Fibonacci, I told you guys that you guys should get back in at 210. And look what would have happened if you got back in at 210. You'll be looking at least a $16 profit. And what is a $16 profit? $16 of 210, a 7%. And that's within a day. Within a day, that's amazing. That's amazing profit to see within a day. So I just want to show you the moving averages. Moving averages slowly trending towards the uptrend again. Right here we crossed over, so this is where you would sell off. If you bought down here, you sell off when this crossover. And now that we're creating another divergence, hopefully it can go on an uptrend. And so let's look into NEO right now. NEO versus the dollar, and NEO is an excellent example right now of Elliot Wave, because we can see Elliot Wave being pretty pronounced right here. Wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the correction, and then we see another building of wave 1 right here. Wave 1, I don't know why that didn't go through. Let me do it again. Wave 1, 2, and it's yet to be known what wave 3 is gonna be. Wave 2 can be right here. Sorry, not wave 3, wave 2, and then wave 3 can break out. We have yet to see. We're still looking at where wave 2 is going to end up, because we are doing that retracement right now. We see a downtrend on the RSI. We see a downtrend on the RSI. It seems like a good bet. And it seems like a good bet that we're in that little retracement period like this right here. We go up and then back down. Once we hit the bottom of this and we start seeing an uptrend towards wave 3, that's a perfect time to get in to see quick profits right here. Let's just say we got in at 110 and it went up to 119, $8 profit. Easy, $8 profit. That's amazing. And you just continue doing that. Within a couple hours in a day, you see massive profits. And then let's go quickly into Ripple, XRP. Let's use XRP to the dollar. There we go. So the last thing that I want to get into is XRP, and we saw the Elliot Wave right here. However, we don't see a huge correction happening. I mean, we don't see a huge Elliot Wave coming back again after the correction. So we can say this is 0. We can say this is 0.8 BC. And so now we just need to see a little bit of a trend. Do we consider this to be wave 1 and then wave 2? We just have to be patient and see what we can predict in the future. Just be a little bit patient, give it some time, and see where this ends up. Or are we seeing a wedge forming? Or are we seeing a wedge forming right down here? Is this another wedge formation where we're gonna get closer and closer to the wedge and then break below or break above? And that brings me to the end of the video today. Hopefully everyone was able to learn a thing or two, because at the end of the day, I want everyone to be successful in this space and become wealthy. So if you guys have any comments, please do comment down below. Let me know, what are you trading, what profits you taking, what do you want to get into? And so that being said, hopefully everyone has a blessed day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.